Hello everyone, in this video we are going to show you what makes Gator Toolbox the ultimate UHD conversion problem solver. Gator Toolbox addresses your signal conversion needs in broadcast, production, and live event workflows where low latency and quality UHD, HDR, and audio are required, all in a modular open gear form factor. Let's take a look at the extensive feature set of a Gator Toolbox. Gator Toolbox supports 12 gig SDI interface, 4 in and 4 out, quad 3G gearbox, including 2SI and SQD support, HDR and wide color gamut EOTF remapping, as well as HD, UHD up-down cross conversion, standards conversion, frame synchronizer, audio and video correction, audio embed de-embed, including AES-free interface, fiber interface, as well as user presets, allowing customers to quickly save a configuration and recall a previous configuration. Gator Toolbox is an excellent edge device for mobile and flypack, where external feeds could be anything and are often unknown in advance. To illustrate our presentation today, we are going to demonstrate how Gator Toolbox is extremely useful in situations where customers have very dynamic workflows. We will take the example of an OB van driving to an international sporting event, and we will break down some of the situations encountered during our operation.
Here's an example of a UHD production truck or OB van with a 12G SDI core, including a 12G SDI router, production switcher, graphics, and replay. We'll be producing this event in 2160p 5994 HDR. The HDR standard is HLG, and we'll be using BT 2020 color space. We've brought with us a couple of HDR UHD cameras for the event, but we'll also be using some rental gear and some camera feeds from the venue. We'll also be incorporating a remote feed provided to us by the local broadcaster. Our primary output feed will be 2160p 5994 in HLG BT 2020, our native production format. However, we also need to produce a domestic HD feed in SDR as well as an international HD feed. So, we've got a number of problems to solve to get all our feeds straight, and as always, schedules are tight. So, let's break this down. We've rented a UHD camera, but when we picked it up, we noticed a couple of issues. Some UHD sources, such as our rental camera here, output their UHD video over 4 separate cables. This is known as quad-link 3G SDI. There are 2 flavors of quad-link in common use. The first is square quadrant division, or SQD. Here, the image raster is divided into 4 equal quadrants, each sent on a separate cable. The other encoding scheme is 2 sample interleave, or 2SI. In this case, the raster is split up on a pixel by pixel and line by line basis. So, each link covers the entire raster, but at 1/4 resolution. However, in our example, our router requires that the signal be encoded onto a single 12 gig SDI cable. This is where the Gator Toolbox gearbox comes in. It can convert either 2SI or SQD inputs to 12 gig SDI. We can enable the gearbox by selecting either quad-link 2SI or quad-link SQD in the I/O mapping setup on Gator's global setup page. Notice also that Gator Toolbox can perform a gearbox on its output to connect to receivers that require a quad-link interface. Okay, we have another issue with our quad-link rental camera. It only supports standard dynamic range, but our production is being done in HLG BT 2020 color space. Once again, Gator Toolbox can solve this problem for us with its HDR mapping with support for SDR, HLG, PQ, and S-Log3 in either 709 or 2020 wide color gamut. In the Video Correction HDR tab, you simply select the input and output color gamut. Gator Toolbox will then automatically apply the appropriate mapping for both dynamic range and color space. If necessary, the overall gain can be adjusted for each conversion type to match the white levels in your production. Further color correction can be performed in the RGB color correction and ProcAmp tabs. Also note that Gator Toolbox can be configured to follow the upstream color gamut as specified in the source signal ST352 video payload ID packet. Now let's deal with our next problem. Our venue has provided us with some camera feeds, but they're in HD. We need to upconvert these to UHD for our production. These cameras are also not gen locked, so we need a frame sync too. We do this with Gator Toolbox up-down cross-conversion, which is a high-quality, motion-adaptive process featuring advanced deinterlacing and diagonal filtering for excellent results. It also features an automatic frame sync to align the output to Genlock. Audio is resampled to ensure no artifacts if we need to drop or add a frame. In the Config tab, we simply need to specify the desired output format. Gator Toolbox automatically detects the input format and performs the necessary conversion, engaging the frame synchronizer if necessary. As before, we also can enable the HDR mapping to convert our SDR camera to the desired HLG production standard. Okay, we have our cameras all in check, but we have another problem. We're receiving a feed from one of the local broadcasters over a fiber link. However, the local standard is 50 Hz, so we're given a 1080p 50 source over fiber and need to get this cleanly to our 2160p 5994 production. Fortunately, our Gator is available with a fiber input. As before, we use Gator Toolbox to perform the up conversion, but we'll also be performing a standards or frame rate conversion. Gator utilizes an advanced linear frame rate conversion process which features motion adaptive algorithms to provide the highest quality results at any resolution. First, we'll select the fiber input from the Global Setup tab in Dashboard. Next, we set the output format in the Config tab as before. When Gator detects that the input and output frame rate don't match, it will automatically engage the linear frame rate converter. We also need to do some tweaks to the audio for this remote feed. Our provider has left and right swaps and is coming in a few dB hot. In Gator's Audio tab, we can easily remap the channels to make quick adjustments to the level. We can perform channel summing for simple mono downmix plus phase invert and adjust the delay for each channel. As before, we'll use Gator's HDR mapping feature to convert the SDR source to our HLG production standard. Alright, we've got our inputs corrected for our production. Now, let's tailor our output feeds. Our primary feed is our native UHD HLG, so no worries there. However, we also need to produce domestic and international HD feeds. For our domestic HD feed, we need to provide a 1080p 5994 signal in SDR. By utilizing Gator's up-down cross-converter and HDR mapping, we can easily provide that from our 2160p HLG program. Our international feed is a bit more complex. First, we need to down-convert our UHD to HD, but also need to do a standards conversion from 5994 frames to 50 frames per second. Gator's format and frame rate converter will make easy work of that. We'll take care of converting HLG to SDR as well. We also need to take a secondary audio feed from our audio desk and embed it into our international SDI feed. The audio can be connected to Gator's AES inputs. Going back to the Audio tab, we can simply select the desired audio channels to embed it into our SDI output. We have full flexibility to adjust the levels and shuffle as before. Okay, that does it. We've corrected a number of issues with our feed in no time using the tools in our Gator Toolbox. We're ready for the show.
To summarize, you can convert Facility's HD cameras to UHD, HDR wide color gamut. You can frame sync remote feeds, you can gearbox rented SQD UHD camera, you can apply audio correction and shuffle as well as video correction match HD cameras to UHD cameras. You can even generate 1080p 50 SDR program feed, embed and de-embed audio. All of this with super low latency so you don't have to deal with the headache of added delays. This is why Gator Toolbox is the ultimate UHD conversion problem solver.